Morning Year 5, welcome back. And your grammar today is to insert commas so sentences make sense. For instance, as the campers sat eating, the bear stayed in the bushes. Well, without the comma, that sentence doesn't make sense. So the comma should actually go here, and the comma will allow the reader to pause. As the campers sat eating, the bear stayed in the bushes. Okay, so that was actually a fronted adverbial there. While the chicken was cooking, gravy was made in the jug. Should a chicken be cooking? There's a question. Okay, so again, we need the comma there. While the chicken was cooking, gravy was made in the jug. So again, the comma allows for the pause and for us to make more sense of the sentence. Because Josh had two other children borrowed one of his footballs. That makes no sense at all without the comma. And then the comma should actually go there. Because Josh had two, other children borrowed one of his footballs. And also you're going to be asked to put them in place for relative clauses. Now remember, we've done relative clauses in class, and they always include a relative pronoun as well. And a relative pronoun here is who. So currently this says, the caretaker who was shaking with fear entered the school. So we need a comma here. The caretaker who was shaking with fear, comma, entered the school. The relative pronoun adds more information. So the relative clause adds more information, okay, about the caretaker. It would actually still make sense without the relative clause. The caretaker entered the school, but it's there to add detail, make the writing much better. So you will need to drag and put the commas into place. A slight tip, doesn't always work, but does most of the time. Think where you naturally pause. Where you naturally pause is more likely or not where the comma goes. So then today's task, creating a mood with a sentence of 3. Well, just before half term we did this with the outside and the weather outside. Now we're focusing on the inside. And you just need to think of 3 things that you'll find on the inside and come up with sentences, add detail about them to come up with sentences. So for instance, the writer here, well, there was curtains, fire and Jack. Inside, shabby curtains were drawn, comma, a humble fire crackled and Jack read silently. So they've also chosen 3 others. They've chosen a TV, a mug and a dog. Inside, the TV was muted, comma, a chipped mug of coffee steamed on a small pine table and a white dog slept, whimpering. So then I've had a go myself. I just chose 3 random things you might find inside, a clock, a lamp and Grandad, and then I've tried to include detail about them to make my sentence of 3, a list of 3. Inside, the ancient clock stopped ticking, comma, a tired lamp flickered in the corner and Grandad snored loudly. So, you need to, for each sentence, you've only got to come up with 3, think of 3 different objects each time. Maybe you want to think maybe about a phone, maybe the TV that's doing something else. Maybe instead of a dog you could choose a cat or a hamster. Instead of Grandad you could choose a little brother, a cousin, anybody. Play around with it, make sure you've got your list of 3 and information about each item in that list. Best of luck.